We're back, and I actually got more work done. As you can see, the truck is missing something. I took the bed off so I could mount my Rhodes race car anti-roll bar kit, you can see, and I mounted the shock cross member and the shock mounts on the rear end. Pay no attention to these shocks. These are just cheap replacement OE shocks that I used for dummies. They're way too long, but this gives me my measurement for my Viking shocks when I order them. Something else I did, come around here, is I relocated the fuel cell. If you remember, the fuel cell was in the bed under the tonneau cover, and I had the lines running through a hole in the bed. Well, I'm getting ready to cut the bed up to save weight. We're going to carve a lot out of the bed. So I decided it was a good time to move the fuel cell. So I used what used to be the spare tire carrier on a Dakota, the spare tires under the bed. So I cut all that out, or I cut a section of it out. And then I used, you can see down here, these are the stock brackets. I had to take 1.5 inches out of these to compensate because they'd be too long. So I cut those 1.5 inches out of each one of those, welded them back together. And then these were the other part of the bracket setup. So I went ahead and cut these down, and I just used them and welded them in as cross braces for the top so the cell's not going anywhere. And if you remember, the fuel pump was mounted right here under the bed. Well, obviously with the bed cut up, it won't work there. But I had planned on doing this in the future, so I made sure to leave enough slack, and I even made a little extension piece, temporary extension piece, because I knew I was going to be moving the pump. Luckily, my guesses were pretty close because I had just enough to run the fuel line to the pump location where I wanted it. And I took the extension out, and the Y was just enough to fit. So I think everything will tuck in nice behind the roll pan. Shouldn't be too obvious. Ignore the cables laying. I got those all unhooked. You can see the battery cutoff switch, wires for the Holley. So I'm happy with how everything turned out. I'm happy to have the fuel cell out of the bed, because I'm probably going to end up cutting most of the bed floor out, and eventually I'm going to hang just the bed sides with a fiberglass tailgate and a super lightweight aluminum tonneau cover, and that'll be the whole bed. I've got probably 1.5 days in this. The longest part was just getting the fuel cell in and all that nonsense, and triple and quadruple measuring to make sure the shock cross member was right. I ended up drilling a hole through the frame and just sliding the bar through and welding it in on both sides. And then the ARB, it comes as a kit. You have to weld that all up. That took some time. The only thing I don't like about this kit is it uses bushings. So bushings for the bar. It doesn't use bearings, but I have some friends that work with bushings and materials like that. So I think I'm going to get some sintered metal, which is a brass permeated bushing material, and try that, or aluminum, and machine some grease grooves in it and put some grease zerks in there. I think that would work also. So, but you can see the rear end. All I have to do now is get it up in the air and get my shock measurements and my drive shaft measurements, and I'm golden. So, thanks for watching.